g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome back. This is us, the Cheeseman, episode 363 on this fine 6th of July here in Australia. Lovely to see you all. It's so good to see so many people. We've got, 31 people already. That's lovely. Big shout out, of course, to all of the YouTube members and patrons. No new ones this week, but thank you so much to everybody on the screen there for supporting the show financially week after week. It's a monthly donation and you get perks, of course. So that's the YouTube members, and then we also have a Patreon page. So thank you to all of the patrons there on the screen. Some of you have actually doubled up and support via both methods, which is just extraordinary. So thank you all very, very much. Without your kind support, the show wouldn't go on. This is why it's here. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Okay. Don't forget we got the gallery at 30 minutes past the hour, and it's good to see that Sebastian's just joined the chat because he sent me through some videos of his pneumatic press. Cheese press, very impressive. Get the pun? Oh, I love it. Anyway, so Sebastian sent some videos in, and we got a couple of things to do. Now you'll notice also that there is a goal at the top of the chat. I have a script ready to rock and roll right now. So if I get 10 super chats in the next, whatever the time says, what's it say? Let me just click on it. It ends in 37 minutes, the goal. So if we get 10 super chats, then fabulous. If we don't, no big deal. I've got a script ready to go on the teleprompter, and I can start recording the session. So, and that'll be part of the next video. What else do we do? Oh yeah. So if you do a super chat, this is what happens. The Curd Nerd light comes on, and a big thank you already to the first person. Jeffrey, that's for Jeffrey, because he did it off before the show started, so thank you so much. And we also got one from Michelle, who did a super sticker, which actually doesn't count towards a goal, but we'll give her a flash. Not that kind of flash, just this one, this flash, this one here. Thank you, Michelle. I'm not trying to be rude at all. So we've got a few people going already, which is fantastic. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. The flashing should start automatically. Oh, fingers off. Thank you very much for your kind $20 donation. So we've got 3 on the goal so far, because Patricia has also done a kind donation of $2. Thank you so much, Canadian. Lovely to get the show going, so that'll be good. And there you go, there's the automatic flash. Okay, I'll just kill that. There we go. Oh, somebody will have a whatever you get when you're epileptic fit. That's right, we don't want any of that on the show. All right, let's say g'day to a few people. Where is it? The first person was I think it was Jeffrey. G'day, Jeffrey. And Patricia was a second, then Paul. Hello, Paul. Father Dave. G'day, Father Dave. Great to see you. Merv, nice to see you again, mate. Appreciate it. And who else we got there? Richmond. G'day, Rich. Richard, how are you, mate? DeGrammus, new to the chat, but not to the show. And we got lots of super chat. The light will go off like a frog in a sock in a minute. Fiona, hello Fiona. Memmate and Michelle, of course. G'day to both of you. Just won asbestos. Apparently baseball is the thing. No, must be a long weekend where you are or something. Yeah. Oh, there you go. The curtain light's going off. We got Matt. Hello, Matt. Lovely to see you, mate, over there in the UK. It's good to see you up so late at night. And we got Jose, also in the UK. We've also got Dominic. G'day, Dominic. Lovely to see you, mate. John Hayes in Canada. Lovely to see you, mate. Sebastian. Nice to see you, mate, and thanks for those videos. I've managed to get all three of them, so I'll be able to show all three. They're really small, but it's good. Mike Lackner, g'day, mate. How are you? Frederick. Yep, we can get to that question in a minute. And we got some super chats, so let's do the super chatty things. Ben, mate, thank you for your donation. I think that comes up automatically if you don't put any text in there, but thank you very much. I appreciate the $15 Australian. Nice one. Thanks, mate. Merv has also got a chat, and he's got a question in there, which is great too. So we've got 5 towards the goal so far. So Merv's question, let's do this as the first one. I'll get back to the other ones in a second. Says, as you know, I make brie. I've made 2 from the same batch in 2 molds, one getting softer, one still firm. That's the bigger one. The bigger one. That's getting soft. Hang on, my brain's not working. 2 molds, one getting soft, one still firm. It's the bigger one that's getting soft. Any thoughts? Is the bigger one thinner? If it's thinner, it'll ripen faster. Is the one not? Yeah, so it's all to do with the thickness of the cheese, Merv. So let me know in the chat down below. It'd be good to get a little bit more clarification. So usually the thinner they are, the quicker they ripen in the centre, because it's the distance from the rind, the Penicillium candidum and Geo, that affects the ripening. It ripens from the outside in. Jennifer, lovely to see you. There's a wave back again. Okay. I think Merv had a question around this mug. It's full of coffee. I don't want to spill it. I haven't put the cow on it yet. I'm doing a new design, so I've got to figure out how to do that. It took me ages to get this one up there, but yeah, we'll figure it out. So, cow mug. Everybody loves a good cow. I'll make it. It'll be a sexy cow anyway. A good looking one. Alrighty. That kiwi. That kiwi. Gay. Geye. Gee. How do you say that? Howdy from across the ditch. Been a subscriber from years. You're the OG. Thank you. OG. Original gangster. Right. Yes. Now I know what I am. In cheese. Oh, it's pronounced Guy. Right. Okay. Thank you, Guy. Appreciate it. That Kiwi guy. All right. So we do have some questions. Let me just get to the other ones. And where is it? Paul, another super chat. Goodness me, you're a generous man, Paul. Let's do that. I'm all over the place today, but that doesn't matter. Thank you, Paul, for the $10. Hi, Gavin. First, what size baskets did you use for St. Ivel? Storing cheese in the fridge will not age the cheese much more. True. Asking for hard cheeses. That is correct. So the cheese, harder cheeses ripen at about 13 degrees Celsius. So I could do the second part of the question. So 11 to 13 degrees Celsius, usually about the range that they ripen cheeses at. And this is for a couple of reasons. The lactic bacteria are still active at those low temperatures. So it really does pay to keep it at those temperatures. The lower the temperatures, like 4 degrees, it almost stops. The activity, bacterial activity, almost stops. But yeah, cheese ripens the best, the slowest possible without stopping the bacteria. So 13 degrees. You go any higher than that and you get rapid bacterial development, causing high acidity, extra crumbly cheeses, and the texture just won't be what you want it to be. All right. Now, as for the baskets, let me just go to the Little Green Workshop's website and There we go. So Little Green Workshops, let's go to these, for those who want to follow along, littlegreenworkshops.com.au. This is the store that Kim and I run. Over to the cheese basket section. And we got many cheese baskets. Okay, for St. Ivel, which one did I use? That one. Small, soft cheese basket. Perfect for lactic set cheeses, just the right size. They're smaller than, and if it, come up, Gav. Product, right, there we go. So there it is there. Can I make it bigger? So it's only, let's have a look, what's the size? 8 centimetres high, 8 centimetres across the top, and 7 across the base. They do stack if you want them to. And I used this for Charus and St. Ivel, and what have I got them at? $5.50, cheapest chips. I'll just put the link in the chat, so if anybody wants to have a look. So that's the basket there, Paul. To answer your question, we do have them on the website. I have lots of them, so go for it. Okay, back to my head. There we are. So I hope that answers your question. Thanks, mate, and thanks for the $10 super chat. Next question is from... let's have a look. Patricia says, I have a goat feta in brine, which should be ready to taste in about 3 days. She'll go great with all the spinach from my garden. Perfect, indeed. Gardening and cheese making go together, you know. And I know I've been promising a gardening video, my new garden area that I've done. It's been there for about, well, not completed. I only completed it in December last year. So I love it. It's just a beautiful space. In fact, I mentioned to Matt just before that I'd hurt my back again yesterday, just slightly. I just overdid it. Me and Ben moved 2 pear trees in pots that we've had for about, at least 15 years in the same pots. And they're looking great. They're miniature pears, cool cocktail pears. Anyway, so we moved those around to the veggie patch area, and it was just great. So I absolutely promise I've got to get that bloody video finished. Look, I don't know if I'll put it on the main channel. I don't want to contaminate the cheese timeline, if that makes sense. If you're into Star Trek, you'll know that. But I'll pop it onto the Gavin and Kim channel, put a link in the community page, and we can go from there. But anyway, all the best with your goat feta, Patricia. Hope it all turns out. And yeah, it would be absolutely lovely with the spinach. Okay, Merv did say, have you organised the cow on the mugs? Not yet, but yeah, we will. Don't you worry about that. We'll get that fixed. Richmond, $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Canadian, I translated it to US dollars there on the screen. But you've said, I have a 2-pound Stilton that is 3 months old. Can I cut it in half to try it out and save the rest for a few more months? Can it be vacuum packed? A great question, and thank you for the super chat. If your Stilton is 3 months old, that's the 90-day limit. I would cut it in half and eat it, yeah, for sure. I wouldn't really, it's very hard to save blue cheeses. You can, once they're ripe, you can vacuum pack them. It has, that's for you, Richard. I have vacuum packed blue cheeses before, but because they're really soft, they don't mature any further, and they kind of, in the vacuum packing, they kind of ooze it and squish in the vacuum packing. It's because of the pressure difference between the atmosphere and the vacuum pack bag. But I know 2 pounds, what's that, just under a kilo, 900 grams. So the best way to store it is to wrap it, so cut half, eat it. If you want to keep it for a little bit longer, probably you'd be lucky to push a month. You can wrap it in wax paper, or a thick baking parchment is another way. Wax paper's the best. Or even at a pinch, if you've got some camembert wrap, you know, the white wrap, cheese wrap with the holes, wrap it in that, and that actually keeps it for a lot longer, which is great. And keep it in the kitchen fridge to stop it from maturing any further. But yeah, certainly, I wouldn't go much past 3 months, because the blue mould dies off and goes grey, and although the flavour's fantastic, it gets a little bit funky and a little bit too deep in flavour, really bitey, and sometimes it can actually hurt your tongue. It doesn't hurt, it just gives it a real sharp flavour, and you know, you can imagine it. Anyway, thank you, Richard. And we're up to 7 on the goal. That is absolutely fantastic. Thanks. Question from John, I think, says, after making a particular cheese, some leftover, can that be deconstructed, broken down to make another cheese? No, it can't. When you're making cheese, the lactic bacteria consumes the lactose and then dies off, and then converts into enzymes as the cheese ages at 13 degrees Celsius, right? The lactobacteria die. They're not alive anymore. They're not present in the cheese, so you cannot take another piece of cheese, soak it in milk, and then recreate the live bacteria, because they're just not live anymore. So no, you cannot use that to make another cheese. However, that said, you could, and I've done it before, and it kind of worked. I used some Penicillium Roque 40, so the blue mould, I scraped some of that out of a Gorgonzola, which is probably Penicillium, what's it called? Not glaucoma, that's your eyes. Anyway, it starts with a G, I forget it, but anyway, we'll go from there. But yeah, it's a blue mould, which is a strain of Penicillium Roque 40, and I did manage to inoculate some milk with that. It didn't work very well, so I didn't make a video of it. So probably not the best thing to do. Just go buy the cultures. It's so much cheaper, so much less fuss, and you got a guaranteed product at the end. You don't want to waste all that time with milk and stirring and maturing and get nothing. Just get a lump of milk. Frederick says, can you make a video on how to ripen your cheeses? Have I got one of those already? I've got a video on how to use ripening boxes to ripen, but nothing, only in the individual videos itself. So it's a good suggestion. Ripen cheese. So how we do the affinage. Alright, I'll put that on my ideas list. Thank you very much, Frederick. Appreciate it, mate. Oh, Costanzo, lovely to see you again. Thanks for those photos last week. We've got another question here. Where is it? Oh, here we go. From Father Dave. If you're making a sharp cheddar, is there a thing as too much lipase? And if not, what happens the more lipase you use? Yeah, there is actually too much. You can add too much lipase because the final cheese tastes like baby vomit. It smells like baby vomit and tastes really sharp. So no, I would not. I would not add too much. So my guide is 1/8 of a teaspoon of lipase diluted in 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water for 10 to 12 litres. If you're going to use less than 10 to 12 litres, cut that back to about 2, 3, 30 seconds of a teaspoon. 30 seconds, does that make sense? So less is better with lipase, especially if you're using, like I use calf lipase, If you use kid lipase from a goat, then it is exceptionally strong. Exceptionally. And you only use it when you're using pasteurized milk. Don't use lipase if you've got raw milk. Raw milk has the lipase already still in it. It's one of those bacteria / enzymes that get killed off during the pasteurization process. So absolutely, less is better. The more you use, the more terrible the cheese will actually taste. Okay, Dominic has a question. Says, I vacuum sealed a queso fresco that got hidden in the fridge. It's about 2 months old. Should I pitch it? Queso fresco is a fresh cheese fresh in Spanish, as you can see. It should really be eaten within 7 days. It's got a high moisture content. It doesn't have as much salt as, say, a harder cheese would. It's salted usually at about 1.5% by weight of curds, unlike a cheddar, which is between 2 and 2.5, sometimes up to 2.7, depends on the cheddar style. Would it be okay at 2 months? Well, if you vacuum packed it and you kept it in the fridge, probably. You're not going to get any molds and bad stuff on it. It's just going to be really moist, probably very squishy in the bag. Look, I wouldn't throw it away. I'd try it for sure. It seems like if you've handled it safely and it's been in the fridge and you have vacuum packed it, then yeah, you'll be good, as you've said there. So give it a try, Dominic. You may have created a new cheese. I don't think it would have ripened very well. It probably might even be something a little bit like Bel Paese, which is a style that you ripen in the fridge. However, with queso fresco you use mesophilic cultures, and Bel Paese you use thermophilic cultures, so they'll be different in texture. Give it a try. What the heck? Okay, so next question is from Mike. Thank you, Mike. St. Ivel Bar. Oh no, Paul says St. Ivel baskets order. Thank you, Paul. I saw that order come through. Mike says some videos seem to show adding calcium chloride early on, and others seem to show just before the run-out. What rules should we follow? Okay, great question, and thank you for the $10. Appreciate it. And we're up to 8 on the goal now. 8 out of 10. That's fantastic. Thank you, Mike. Right, so I only recently discovered about 6 months ago, because I was doing some more research, looking at some scientific cheese papers, and they suggested that calcium chloride should be added at the start as you're warming up the milk, because apparently it takes about 30 to 45 minutes for the calcium ions in the calcium chloride to attach themselves to the casein and therefore boost the structure of the curd set when you add the rennet. So that amount of time obviously needs to be taken into account. So I've started now putting on in my recipes that the calcium chloride goes in as you're warming up the milk. So that is my advice now. These things change. We get information as we go along. So the other recipes will work. There's just not going to be as much calcium attached to the casein. So hope that that clears it all up for you, Mike, and thank you for the super chat. Okay, next question is from I think that Kiwi guy. Okay, says I made a chowder the other day. Ran out of my normal cheese salt, so I used pink Himalayan salt for the brine. Will that be okay? I couldn't see anywhere saying it was iodized. Yeah, it won't be iodized, but you'll get a pink tinge on your cheese. And remember that Himalayan salt is not actually pure sodium chloride. It is a mixture of a whole bunch of other minerals as well, because it's it was sea salt at one stage, but remembering they usually farm it in Pakistan is where they get the vast majority of the Himalayan salt, and it comes out of caves, right? So it's not actually made from seawater. So minerals have leached into the salt that used to be on a seabed many, many years ago. So there are lots of things in there which will be different than sodium chloride, which is normal salt as we know it. So I highly recommend that you don't use pink salt in brine. I have before, didn't work out well. It wasn't salty enough, even though I thought it was. It wasn't. So yeah, I really don't recommend using pink salt, even though it is not iodized, because it's just block salt. They mine it in big blocks and then crush it all up for you. Anyway, that's the go. Alrighty, we did have another super chat there, and that was from Dominic. So we're up to 9 out of 10. Thank you, Dominic. Appreciate it. The $2 US, every little bit goes, and we're at 9 out of 10 for the goals now. So fantastic. Thanks, mate. Patrish, no, the Kiwi guy, can I backpack my chowder rather than the wax? Yes, you can, indeed. So yeah, you can indeed vacuum pack your chowder. I have before without any issues. And it looks like we've reached our goal. Jeffrey, thank you for the $5 Australian. The little, I can't show it, says goal achieved. Thank your audience for making it possible. Thank you, audience. I really do appreciate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly do the gallery now. Okay. So hold off on your questions. We'll do the gallery, which is going to be really quick. And then what we're going to do is we're going to record right here. I'm going to hit my record button. And we are going to record part of the pH video that I've been struggling. I've finished the script. I thought, what the heck? Let's just do a bit of it now and get it done. Now, it may seem awkward as all get out because because it just will be. But anyway, we'll do the gallery. So okay, over to the second monitor. So the gallery today is brought to you by you, the Curd Nerds, and I'll show everybody how to send that in after we finished. So first of all, we've got a photo from Jill, and Jill says, "Good morning. It's finally stopped raining here in sunny Waikato in New Zealand, and the temperature is quite mild. I have a question for your podcast this morning. I have just taken my Leyden out of the press. Very happy with it, but as time will tell. My question is, why is the culture not left to ripen in this recipe? The clean break was fine, but probably a weaker curd than I normally see. Came together absolutely fine, but just curious. I used raw milk that was literally straight from the cow. Handy neighbours who milk my cow on their dairy farm for me. I get the milk on the weekends or whenever I need it, and they get the rest. Perfect solution. Cheers, Jewel." That's a great little cow sharing arrangement you've got going there. So absolutely perfect. So look at that Leyden. That is magnificent. So to answer Jill's question, Leyden is traditionally a low acid cheese, very similar to Gouda. So it's like a Gouda style cheese, has a washed curd. No ripening time, because you want to, at the beginning of the process, you want to have fairly low acid, and washing the curds with some warm water as well, you lower the amount of food that's available for the lactose. However, at the end, the pH should be around 5.3 when it's in this state here. There we go, pointy there. So in this state here, so it should be a pH of about 5.3, which it should be after all that time in the press and turning and all that sort of stuff. So you don't want it too acidic at this stage, because it's a mild cheese anyway. Right. So that's the answer to the question. That's why we don't have a ripening period, because it'll ripen as we go without an extra ripening period to bring the pH right down. So, hope that answers the question, Jill. All right. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the only photo we have, but we do have some videos, and we have them from Sebastian. So let me just find them. Where the heck are they? Whoop! There we go. So we got some videos. Sebastian says, Gavin, there's no sound anyway to them, so it won't be too much of a hassle. It says, Gavin, I enjoy making cheese, but I like to make cheese with my friends and family. It's a good way to bring us together. I typically make cheese every 2 weeks with a variety of 3 or 4 friends and family. We make an event out of it. We drink beer, eat, smoke cigars at the same time, catching up with each other. After the cheese has ripened, I split up the cheese we made with the group. This being said, we need to make a lot of cheese. As a result, we have large batches of cheese and large equipment. The pressing of the cheese wheels was a problem. Thus, I made a pneumatic cheese press, see attached videos. The video features my cousins Ricardo and Stefano and 3 wheels of drunken cow cheese that you shared with me. A few questions. All right, let's watch the videos and we'll get to the questions and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so apologise for the quality. He sent them via email and they're very small videos, so I've made them the best size possible. So here's either Ricardo or Stefano, and you can see there we've got a press. He's put the first cheese in, we've got the second cheese going in with a follower, and they've got cheesecloth and all that sort of stuff on them, and then the third one going in, and then he puts a rail in there, and there's a pin that goes in as well. So the pin goes in too. There we go. So that's all locked in place. It looks like there's some sort of compressor thing going on here, which we'll see next in the next video. There we go. So a little handle, and he taps it. And how much pressure do we know? He's got a little gauge. How good's that? So we can tell exactly how much pressure. Hang on, can we go back to the last video? And get this back to the gauge thing. There you go, there's a little gauge there. And it tells him how much pressure is on all of the cheeses. How cool is that? That is one of the best, and it's over a sink as well, outside. So, goodness me, that is fantastic. Thank you for sending that in, Sebastian. I really appreciate it, mate. That is just gold. That's solid gold. Look at that. I love it. Just like a real cheese factory you got going there. I'd love to see the final cheese as well. So, thanks for that, mate. Okay, so on to your questions. It says, I listened to a few cheese making videos that stated using raw milk. It is not necessarily to wait for the acidification before adding cultures. The amount of rennet be dialed back almost in half. Less curd cooking time. Recommend to add calcium chloride to raw milk to help the curd set. What is your opinion? All right, so didn't really understand the question, but right, my opinion is if you use raw milk, it's your choice. Make sure that the source is clean, that the dairy tests its raw milk. Don't get your raw milk off the back of a truck. So, yeah, that could absolutely be a problem. If you've got any issues with the source of the raw milk, then home pasteurize it first. So just look for home pasteurization. I've got a great video on that, so go and check that out. Okay. Yeah, look, absolutely. You can actually add no cultures if you think that the bacteria in the raw milk is viable. However, I would use half the amount of cultures, half the amount of rennet, but I would use all the thymes and stuff that are normally in the cheese recipe. No need to add calcium chloride because you don't have to add more soluble calcium back that is destroyed during the pasteurization process. So if you're using raw milk, use those tips there. Okay. And the second question is, sometimes I increase the weight of my cheese press to get the rind to close. Yeah, that's good. What is the relationship to the amount of weight used to press the cheese? What happens if the weight is higher than the prescribed weight and lower than the prescribed weight? Okay, so absolutely, if you're doing a semi-hard or hard cheese like you are here on your pneumatic press, then you absolutely do have to get the rind to close. Now, on the last pressing, usually the rind should be closed. If it's not, press longer. You know, I've pressed up to, 12, sometimes even 18 hours longer than what the recipe stated originally to get the rind to close, because by having a closed rind on your cheese, you're absolutely protecting it in the long term as you affinage or mature your cheese. You won't get any unwanted molds into the middle of the cheese, into the structure through cracks and all that sort of stuff. So, rule of thumb when you're pressing, don't press the cheese and... Right, how am I going to say this? So, when you press the cheese, just make sure that the whey running out of it is not cloudy, because if it's cloudy, you're pressing too hard and you're losing fat in the whey that's coming out. The initial one, yeah, look, don't press, you're not going to press too heavy anyway. But as you increase the weight or the pressure on the cheese, just make sure that you check, yeah, it's not cloudy, perfect. And there, yeah, that's just the rule of thumb. And then just make sure that the rind is closed. That's only true for semi-hard, hard cheeses. You know, washed rind, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so that's my guidance on pressing. So, and then he just says, regards, Sebastian. Thank you very much. Rightio, so that's it. That's the videos and all that stuff. Back to my head. Let's just get rid of that. So, and we'll get rid of that and get rid of that. Sorry about that. Alrighty. Davo says he's an ideas man. Send him to the pool room. Oh, classic. You got to watch The Castle. If you haven't watched The Castle, it's a classic Australian movie. And yeah, most Australians can relate to it, that's for sure. Right, let me show you how I how to send me photos and little videos and all that sort of stuff. So what we do, we go to the channel page, and you can do this on mobile as well. It's all the same now. You just click here where it says, do you want to become a curd nerd? Or even this, all three links. You get this little pop-up action going on. And you go down here to more info, and it says view email address. So that email address there is where you send all of your photos, short videos, or if you've got longer videos that you want to show during the gallery segment, then pop them into a Dropbox or Google Drive or iCloud and share the link with me. Make sure I've got access to it, of course, and then I'll download it and store it locally. So that's where you send them all. So do that, please. I'd love to see a big gallery next week. Alrighty, back to my head again. So let's set up. Do we have any more questions before we do that? I was going to say, let's set up for the recording session. Should only be about 15 minutes. I'm not going to do the whole video, but yeah, and as Paul said, don't forget to send in your cheese journey. Do I have a little card for it? Yeah, I do. Here we go. So Paul's referring to this. We do have the Curd Nerd Journey, which is another live stream I usually do on a Wednesday. I haven't done that for yonks because nobody's sent in their stuff. So the format is a short story, no longer than 1,000 words. Look, I'm actually quite flexible with that. Up to 5 photos, and I read it out during this live stream. I usually try to do 2 stories per episode, but the episode's usually only about 30 minutes long. So the premise is, tell me about your cheese making journey so far. How has it changed your life? How and why did you get started? Ups and downs along the way, and anything else you would like to share. So yeah, so if you want to create a little story, send it to me via email with a few photos. It can be longer than 1,000 words. Actually, the longer the better. It's a nice long episode. But shoot it through, and I'll do a live stream on a Wednesday night as well. So thank you, Paul, for that reminder. I did have that little card there ready to go, as always. And Paul's saying that because he sent me his story, which was great. And I've had about 5 or 6 Kurd nerds send me their stories, and they've been absolutely fantastic. I've really enjoyed sharing that with everybody. Okay. Couple of questions. Just one from Jose before we do the recording. Says, I have some thistle rennet. Oh, it's very hard to get. Before I used animal rennet, I can see the big difference between them. The curd is completely different. Can you give any advice? Not really, unfortunately, Jose, because I've never used thistle rennet, and guess what? I've never used animal rennet. So thistle rennet is used for fresh cheeses only, from what I can tell. Fresh Spanish and Italian cheeses, some of them use thistle rennet. They do not. They're from the cardoon thistle. They don't age very well. Up to, dare I say, 2 months of aging, if that, because it becomes quite bitter. The enzyme that breaks down in the thistle rennet creates a bitterness in the cheese, which is a little bit hard on the palate. So that's the only difference that I can really tell by stuff that I've read before. So, and lucky last, Dominic says, when starting with raw milk, why is the milk home pasteurised for making yogurt and not for cheese? Okay, so when making yogurt, you're trying to denature the proteins to get a thicker yogurt. So you heat the milk up to about 92 degrees Celsius, then cool it down, and then add the yogurt culture, which is the thermophilic culture, likes warm, and then you keep the milk and the cultured milk warm, and then it turns into yogurt. That's why we don't want to denature the proteins for cheese making, because it won't set a curd properly and all that sort of stuff. Alrighty. Jill said, thanks. Yes, the Leyden had reached a final pH of 5.3, so on the mark. Well done. It's just right, and hopefully, because it's at 5.3, you won't get any late blowing. 5.3 is absolutely the point, and we'll find out in a minute as I read some stuff about pH. It's the point that that bad bacteria don't survive very well, whereas the good bacteria do. Righty, let me just set up. Let me just get comfortable. Let me just set up my prompter and stuff. I'll just turn off some stuff here that we've got. So I'll turn off that, turn off that. I'll turn off the lower third. I will also turn off, do we turn off the music? Yeah, we'll turn the music off as well. So I'm just setting up for the video. Let's pause the video, pause the music. I think it's stopped already. Yeah, it has. All right. Obviously that didn't go for the amount of time I thought it would. Is that on? Yeah, right. Music on, music off. There we go. Good. Righto. What's going on here? Why do we have the overlay back? There we go. That's gone. All right. So all you've got is my beautiful head. Let me just hit record so don't forget. All right. So I've started recording. That's a good thing. Let me bring up my prompter software. Display my prompter text. There we go. Right, here we go. Live. There'll be some interruptions, I'm sure. Anyway, here we go. 3, 2, 1. G'day, curd nerds. You've made a cheese, right? You followed the recipe, added your culture, you ran it, stirred it, cut it, drained it, and then sometimes it just doesn't quite work out. Maybe it's crumbly, maybe it's rubbery, maybe it just tastes a little bit off. And you're scratching your head and thinking, what did I do wrong? Well, my friends, more often than not, the culprit lurking in the shadows, the unsung hero or villain of your cheese-making journey, is pH. Roll intro. Now, I know you're thinking, Gav, I'm not a scientist. I just want to make a tasty block of cheddar. And believe me, I get it. I've been thinking that way for my entire cheese-making journey. After all, my motto is keep calm and make cheese. The topic of pH and acidity might not seem glamorous, but it is absolutely vital in cheese making. Yes, that little pH number can make or break your cheese. It affects the texture, the moisture, the aging, even whether your cheese ends up crumbly or creamy or melty. Close up to a pH meter and strips. Add this in editing. Before delving into specifics, let's establish a common understanding of pH. pH, or potential hydrogen, is a measure of the acidity or alkalinity of a substance, determined by the concentration of hydrogen ions. It is represented on a scale ranging from 0 to 14, with 7 being neutral and values below... Stop. Oh, where's me value? Where am I up to? There we go. That chapter there. Right, back. Start again. It is represented on a scale ranging from 0 to 14. It is represented on a scale ranging from 0 to 14, with 7 being neutral, values below 7 indicating acidity, and values above 7 indicating alkalinity. B-roll of pH image. Now, when we talk about pH in cheese making, we're talking about how acidic and alkaline your curds and whey are at each stage of the cheese making process. And trust me, this isn't just for lab coats and scientists. It's for every home cheesemaker who wants consistent and high quality cheese. So think of your milk freshly poured into the pot as having a relatively neutral pH. It's usually about 6.8 to 6.6. Now, what's the first thing we often add? Well, it's starter cultures. These are the good bacteria, and their job and their sole purpose at this initial stage is to consume the lactose that's in the milk sugar and convert it into lactic acid. And as the lactic acid is produced, guess what happens to the pH? That's right, it starts to drop. This drop in pH is like a secret handshake that tells everything else in the cheese-making process what to do. So why is this pH drop so important? Let me count the ways. So, rennet, that magical enzyme that coagulates your milk, works best within a specific pH range. If your milk is too high in pH or too alkaline, then you add rennet. You'll get a weak, sloppy curd with no, or maybe, no, that didn't work. Right. Let's do that again. So why is this pH drop so important? Let me count the ways. Rennet, that magical enzyme that coagulates your milk, works best within a specific pH range. If your milk is too high in pH, when you add the rennet, you'll get a weak or sloppy curd or no curd at all. It's like trying to get a bunch of sleepy teenagers to build a chook house. Not much is going to happen. As the pH continues to drop after cutting the curds, something incredible happens. The curds contract and they start to expel whey. This is called goodness me. What is it called, Gav? This is called synersis. A proper pH drop is essential for good whey expulsion, which directly impacts the moisture content of your cheese. Too much moisture and you've got a soft, quick spoiling cheese. Too little and it's dry and crumbly. pH is your moisture controller. Ever wonder why cheddar is firm and elastic and goodness me. I think we need to finish. All right, let's stop. Let's stop there. Let's stop right. So I might ever wonder why cheddar. Okay, curd nerds, I'll just stop recording that now. Right, do you want to stop recording? Yes. All right, so the stream's still going. So I'm up to that bit there. I'm losing my frog in my throat. Hopefully you're all still watching and nobody's dropped off. But anyway, that was my recording style with a prompter. Let me know what you thought. And let me know if you thought the information that I was spruiking there was any value to you. Let me just get the display back. There we go. Let me know if that information, you thought that was valuable, because there's a lot more to it, obviously. There's graphs and where I said put B-roll in and all that. It's not just talking head, Gav's talking head. So, yeah, let me know what you thought. I can see Mike says that was excellent. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Let me just put all the things back on again. That one. Lower thirds goes back on. Whoop, there we go. That's me. And let's put the music back on as well. We only got a few minutes to go anyway. Gav, where's your music? Music, Mr. Music. There we go. Alrighty, so that's back on. Alright, so that was it. Jeffrey says, good stuff, Gav. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Laz77 says, you convinced me to get a pH meter. My cheddar always seems to come out wrong. I wish I was still a chemist so I could get a cheaper one. Well, actually, in the video, at the end of the video, I've got an offer from Hannah Instruments Australia. If you're in Australia, Laz, then yeah, you're good to go. I think they give me it's a 10% discount coupon code if you use my my code. What is it called? Cheeseman. That's it. Cheeseman is the coupon code over at Hannah Instruments Australia. And I got a specific model they sent me. It's called the Halo 2 pH tester for cheese. It works great. I've used it in the pizza mozzarella video. You've seen it in action. And I actually, with that video, I noticed... excuse me, hang on, I need a coffee. I noticed in that pizza mozzarella video, I looked at the retention rate, which is something really unique in YouTube. And can I show the behind the scenes? Let's do this. Gav, where is it? That's the question. Can I bring up? Let me see. Yeah, let's do it. We're going to go behind the scenes here, curd nerds. We're going to go to the pizza mozzarella video on Gav's dashboard. Let's have a look. Is there analytics for it? There is. Okay, so let's have a look. This is behind the scenes, definitely. Here we go. So this is the pizza mozzarella video. Okay, so it's had 19,787 views since I published it 5 weeks ago. Interestingly, it made $186 in revenue, which is very cool. I'm happy with that. But down here, this is the thing. So this is called the retention graph. So at the start, we had 100 and something % people watching it. And then by 30 seconds, 50% of the audience dropped off and thought, nah, I don't like this video. It just is. And then we had a couple of dips. So there was an initial dip at about 32%. And what was that? There we go. It was me explaining all about the pH meter and not the pizza mozzarella. And that dip continued to about here when I started making the curds. And then we got another dip here where I started showing how to clean the pH meter. And then that got better again when I started doing the cheese and wrapping it again. And there's always a dip at the end. It's no big deal. Okay, so that tells me now that I should separate out the the pH meter stuff out of the video and make 2 videos out of that. So making a little how-to video on how to calibrate your pH meter and how to clean it type thing, and then just the pizza mozzarella. Obviously, people, because of those 2 dips, they skip past them. They didn't care about that part. Pizza mozzarella, it's a very popular cheese. By the amount of views that I've had in 5 weeks, the 19,000. So what's your opinion? Let me know in the chat. We've only got 5 minutes to go, but let me know in the chat if you'd like to see 2 separate videos. I'll split the pizza mozzarella into how to use a pH meter. And it's not going to describe anything about like the recording I just did. But how to use the pH meter just separately as a tool video, and then just the pizza mozzarella video. Let me know in the chat if you think that's a good idea. Anyway, so let's move along. There are a couple of questions. Paul's says, I have a pH electronic tester, but previously bought these old style setup with a glass tube. When I'm feeling old school, I might try it. That's good. I've actually seen, you actually add some drops of indicator to the to milk, and it changes colours, and you check it against a strip. Very similar to how strips work, pH test strips. And pH test strips are great, and they're good for getting a quick indication of something, but they're not highly accurate because pH changes with temperature of the curds as well. So I found out, and I found that the pH meter I've got adjusts the pH reading for the temperature of the curds as well. So Merv says, as we see the behind the scenes, Gav does bring us info. Is it what? As we see the behind the scenes, Gav does to bring us info. That is a bit work. Thanks, Gav, for all your work. Thank you, Merv. Appreciate it, mate. Fiona says, great insight into the process. Can't wait to see the rest. Yep, I'll record the rest of that today. Linda says that was exceptionally useful, and that was only the first bit. So imagine the rest of the video, Linda. So that should be good. Patricia says that info is great and a wonderful addition to the cheese making with Gav evolution. I'm looking forward to the complete video. Indeed, and I've got the whole script, so we'll see how they go. And there'll even be B-roll, Patricia, which is... B-roll is like photos and videos over the top of me talking. It's not just going to be talking head. You would have seen similar to when I did the St. Ivel video, right? That was fully scripted. Well, the bits where I'm in uniform, that was fully scripted as well. I'm getting better at reading a script. It's difficult because, and I'll tell you why, it's because of these bloody glasses, right? These are multifocal glasses. So when I look through the top, I can see long distance. When I look through the bottom, I can see short distance. So when I'm reading on the teleprompter, I have to look through the bottom part of the lens, right? So when I'm looking at you now, that's fine. I'm not reading text. But when I'm looking through the bottom, and you'll notice when I'm reading a prompter, you may see me slightly tip my head up. And yeah, it looks a bit weird, but I'm getting better at it anyway. Fatal Pastry says, sounds like it will be a really great video. Appreciate the info. I should get a pH meter or some strips, indeed. And mate, great info. Thank you very much. Now, we do have the most popular question of all. What was your least favourite cheese you've ever made and your most favourite? Least favourite? Ooh, good question. The least favourite probably would have been the Red Windsor that I made. It wasn't the process that was bad. It was the final cheese. I made the curds too small, and the mouthfeel on the cheese was really gritty. Another least favourite, I would say, would be St. Marcelin, because I over-ripened them. They were over-ripened, they were sour, and I really shouldn't have eaten it. It was a bit yucky. When I first tried the St. Marcelin, beautiful. Second time, not so good. And my favourite, all the other ones, everything else have been my favourites. So there you go. Just a quick one. Time's up. Merv says, reply to my 2 Breeze bigger. Alexa, stop. Don't tell me what's going on. Right. Merv says, reply to my 2 Breeze bigger than the other. Getting soft is 800 grams and just a bit thicker than the small one at 600. Still firm. Okay, so the one getting soft is thicker than the smaller one. Still firm. I may rewrap and see what... Yeah, have a look inside, because the smaller one should be getting... The thinner one should be getting softer first, and the thicker one should be getting softer last. So unwrap them, have a look, and then rewrap them. But look, if it's getting softer in the middle, why don't you try it? Try it, Merv, and eat it. See what it tastes like. It's not going to hurt. You know, the worst thing that can happen is there's a little bit of paste in the middle that's chalky, but the outside could be all gooey. But it's a learning experience. And that's why I typically make 4 camemberts or small bries, petite bries they're called. So they're exactly the same thing. It's just a naming thing. I make 4, so I'll cut the first one, have a look when I think they're ready. If there's still a bit of chalky paste in the middle, then I'll leave it, and then I'll let the second, third, and fourth ones ripen out for another week. And then usually when I test the second one, it's really good, and there's no issues. So that's how I roll on the camembert front. Okay, let's just get rid of that. Right, so thank you, everybody. I'd love to stay forever, but I can't because I've got to go and do other things right now. And then I'll finish recording that video. Jules, give me a suggestion. Says definitely 2 separate videos. Perfect. Thank you, Jill. Dominic, he's already tried his queso fresco. I was fine. Thank you for the advice. You saved a £2 What? You saved a pound of cheese from being tossed in the bin. Thank you, Dominic. You're a champion, mate. Jeff says that would be good if I split the video. DeGrammus says, or Grandma's, says that would be awesome. Yeah, let's do that. All right. All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time today and watching me stumble through my script. I think I did a pretty good job, actually. I only did a couple of retakes, so I've got that recorded now. I stopped recording, so I've got that stored in my on my NAS filer. What are they called? Network attached storage. It's over in the house somewhere. So that's sitting there, ready to be edited, and I'll do the rest of it. I'll make sure I wear the same clothes. Well, that'll look a bit funny, won't it? Anyway, lots of B-roll going in there, graphs, charts, bits of cheese, crumbly, not so crumbly, all that sort of stuff going in there. So that'll be great. And the doggos know that I'm finishing because they're here hassling me now. Who wants to see Scruffy Hamish? Let's have a look. He's getting a haircut next week. There he is. Have a look at the camera, Hamish. Oh, and there's Bonnie. We get a sneak peek of Bonnie too. Oh, the doggos. They got a channel called Hamish and Bonnie the Westies too, by the way. It's a comedy skit channel. We haven't done a video for about a year since my back went, but you can go and check that out. Anyway, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next week. All right, bye-bye.